Welcome to our midweek chat for this week. Sorry about the delay here. Had a little bit of technical difficulties figuring out how to get this on Facebook, and I had some difficulty tweaking the computer, but I'm glad to be on, and it looks like we're actually recording this for you now. Just want to bring greetings to you and just a little encouragement in this week. We ended off on Sunday going through that text of Paul in Athens, and definitely was a bit of a jump from our progression of the start of the church and the work of the Spirit in the church. And now we're sort of jumping back again, and this week leading into Ascension Week. And I think this Sunday, Reverend Wayne Stretch will be leading us through a text on the ascension of Christ. And just a couple of prompts maybe for us to think about as we anticipate this Sunday's sermon and what we'll be looking at on Sunday. It's interesting to think about the work of the church, and especially as we are looking at the boldness of Paul and the work that he's really starting, the way that the church spread out. And yet we're moving back to looking at how that community itself was fearful, waiting, kind of huddled together, and in this state of maybe anxiety and bewilderment. And in some ways, it sort of might resonate with us today that we're also in this place of anxiety and bewilderment, given the state of our world and the state that we're in terms of a community of opening things up or not. And then all of a sudden, this great power is unleashed in that community, a power that causes them in this kind of state of fragility to all of a sudden have energy, to have courage, imagination, and use their resources maybe in ways that we might not have predicted. And just this explosion happens. We talked about that on Sunday, this dispersion that happens, but there is a real energy and life and power that each of those believers carried with them and then spread throughout the world. And as we anticipate this Sunday, I think it's interesting to think about where is that power coming from, and how is that power unleashed. As we think about the ascension of Christ, we think about how there is an acknowledgement of union with the great power of God, with the holiness of God. And we see that in some of our texts for the week. And I'll just conclude by reading from Psalm 93, a text that really points us to this glory and power of God that we need to rely on, and that is reassuring to us that there is this power that gives us energy. So blessings on your week, and we look forward to hearing from Wayne this Sunday. I know he's working really hard on bringing a good word to us this week, and we hope that you'll join with us on Sunday online, and just invite you to share that around. Some of our congregation members have been talking about how they've been able to share the service with other people that maybe they wouldn't have invited to church, but it's pretty easy to send them a link and say, hey, check this out. And I think that's a great way to spread the word of what's happening, and hopefully some of your friends and family would be encouraged by the worship and the messages that we're bringing these weeks. Let's read from Psalm 93. The Lord reigns. He is robed in majesty. The Lord is robed in majesty and is armed with strength. The world is firmly established. It cannot be moved. Your throne was established long ago. You are from all eternity. The seas have lifted up, O Lord. The seas have lifted up their voice. The seas have lifted up their pounding waves, mightier than the thunder of the great waters, mightier than the breakers of the sea. The Lord on high is mighty. Your statutes stand firm. Holiness adorns your house for endless days, O Lord. So don't be rocked and thrown around by the waves of our world these days. Let's put our hope and strength in the Lord. Be blessed today. Good to see you, and have a great week.